Hi, this is PC Roger, and I want to welcome you to this short video on Remote Desktop. And Remote Desktop is a way to access one Windows XP computer from another. It is going to be available in Windows Vista and Windows 7 also, but not prior to Windows XP. And there are some limitations on whether or not you have XP Pro or XP Home and that sort of thing. But let's go over some of the basics. We have Windows XP Professional here, and if you right-click the My Computer icon and select Properties, there's a tab here for Remote. And if you do not have this box checked, allow users to connect remotely to this computer, Remote Desktop will not connect to this machine. And you can select remote users, and they all have to have passwords. Now, by default, the administrator does have access, but there does need to be a password on that administrator account, or else a local policy will prevent the remote desktop from working. You can try to override that, run into all kinds of problems. It's easiest just to have a password on that account. Now, if you're on a corporate system, this might be checked and grayed out because it might be set at the network or corporate domain level. But if you know that the machine that you're connected to does have everything ready to go, you can get to Remote Desktop. You can click Start, All Programs, Accessories, and here's Remote Desktop Connection here. And you can select that, and I typically click the Options button open. Now, if you do not have the icon available or cannot find it, you can go to the Start button and click Run, and you can type in, just as I have there, MSTSC. Don't worry about what it all stands for, it's just the program's name, and click OK, and you'll end up with Remote Desktop Connection that way also. This area here, the logon settings, will change a little bit based on what exact version you have of Remote Desktop Connection, but you can simply type in the computer name here, test, and you'll be asked for credentials when you connect. I don't really like the way this works, but that's the way Microsoft's done it, and you can then have the opportunity to save the credentials or not save them. But you can change a number of things about display and connect in full screen mode or not, decide which resources like printers and clipboard and sound and keyboard, all that kind of thing. You can start a program automatically. You can tell it it's a slow connection or broadband. And here's some issues that are really beyond the scope of this video. But you can click back on the General tab, and you can just click Connect. And if the test computer is available on the correct port, which is another issue, you can connect to that machine and take it over. One of the things that I want to emphasize here is once you get all this stuff set up, or someone sets it up for you, I like to be able to click Save As and create an icon. By default, it's in My Documents, and you might just name it whatever the remote computer's name is and click Save. And then if you navigate to My Documents from the Start button here, you can see here's this Remote Desktop Connection named Test. Just right-click and drag, and then select Create Shortcuts here. And then you'll have a shortcut to that remote icon there. And if you accidentally delete the shortcut there, you can just create it again, and it's not going to be actually deleting the saved file itself. And then if you want to, press F2, rename it. And if you double-click it, it will bring up the Remote Desktop Connection, ask you for your username and password, and here you can select to remember my password or not. If you're on a shared PC of any kind, I wouldn't recommend doing that, but if it is your own PC and you've got a password protected login, you might want to go ahead and do this. Here we have a little bit older version of Remote Desktop Connection, and you'll see it's a little bit different. I actually like it a little bit better. Username and password is right here, the domain name or the name of the machine if it's not on a domain. Option to save the password. And this is just very convenient to use. Apparently this isn't as secure, so Microsoft changed to the newer method of doing that. But we are going to connect to the same machine that we had just been working on here a second ago. I'm going to show you can change the display, and ordinarily there might maybe it's 1024 by 768 or something, but for the purposes of this video, or maybe for windowing on the machine that you're working on, you can set this down, which I'm going to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and type in the password and click Connect. And again, we could do a Save As, and that would then create the icon with all of these settings that we want to use. But what I want to show you here is the difference between exiting remote desktop correctly and incorrectly, or using even the disconnect. Now, if you are to just click the X here to end, say I'm all done, that would not be what you want to do. It's the same thing as clicking start and then clicking disconnect. And the purpose of that is to leave the session running. If you had a program, maybe it's a report that takes a long time to run, you want to fire it off and come back, you can click the X or select start and then disconnect, and that program will stay running. And then when you come back to it, it will be wherever it's currently at. And that can be very handy, but if you are completely done with what you're doing, you should select start and then log off. Now, if you do have remote desktop in full screen mode, the start button should be the start button on the remote machine, but sometimes, depending upon how the windows are set up, you once in a while can kind of get confused as to which start button it is. When I work with remote desktop, I usually try to set it up in a window type situation. And if you want to access like the taskbar or something, you can do that. You want to get the task manager through the taskbar, that can be done, and have the remote machine's taskbar. If you just say Control-Delete on your machine, it's going to use your local machine and not the remote machine that you're working on. Some of those are just things to be aware of. And I'm not going to get into it too much deeper than this, but I want to at least make you aware of some of these topics if you are new to remote desktop. So if we start a program here, and this isn't really running, but it's Explorer, will illustrate the point, and we just click the X, it tells us we're going to disconnect. If we hit start, disconnect, it'll say, are you sure you want to disconnect? It kind of presumes you know what you're doing then. Say, okay, disconnect. And then when I come back to it, you can see that Explorer window is still running. If I'm all done with working on the remote machine, what I want to do is click start and then log off. And it'll say, are you sure you want to log off? And I will say log off. And that's what you want to do when you are completely done working on the remote machine. And then you'll see the remote desktop window will just disappear. Now, there are a number of reasons that remote desktop may not work. As I mentioned before, the correct ports have to be open. There are some policies, a lot of different things. If remote desktop is too complicated or not doing the job for you, or if you want to view a remote webcam, or if you want to be able to drag and drop files from the machine you're at to the remote desktop, what you really would be better off doing is looking at a program that uses web-based remote access. And I've got the resolution on this screen set kind of low. And you might want to check out GoToMyPC. They have a free trial offer. And this program is going to be a lot more trouble-free. It is not free to use. There is a small cost. But if you do want to access a remote PC from anywhere using any kind of device, it's just going to be a whole lot less hassle than remote desktop. So if you have a need for using this kind of a program often, and there are some different circumstances, maybe firewalls to go through, things like that, go to GoRemotePC.com and you can look at the reviews and check out a free trial of GoToMyPC. But the purpose of this video, primarily I wanted to show you how to get in and get started with remote desktop, which is built into Windows XP, and create and save an icon onto your desktop like that to make it easy to get to that PC the next time. So that's it for this video. I appreciate your watching. Please stop by my website, www.pcroger.com. I have a lot of other information there and helpful ways to use your computer. See you there.